Howdy.
Hi.
How are you?
I am good. Let's
You have
see.
to think about it.
I did because, you know why I had to think about it? Because I was thinking about what the title of this episode is going to be. And it's all about we'd rather be whole than good.
Oh.
And so I hesitated to say that I was good because I didn't want to be misleading.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And I'm trying to break that habit. But in my defense, I say that I'm good. And then I follow it up with sort of the reality. I mix it up a little bit. It's so really my response is overall, I'm good.
Yeah.
There were some bumps this week, but overall, I'm good.
Got it.
And that's my answer.
So you're good.
I'm good. And I will continue to say more about that later. How about that?
All right. So I'll take that. You're good, but you're not whole.
You know what? I'm whole, but yes.
Okay. Because
I'm whole, but I was not always good this week.
Gotcha. Got it. All right.
You are never asking me how I am again.
I know I'm not. No. I had to go there because I kind of caught it. I was like, you had to think about it. And I was like, there's a thought behind your pause. There's never like a pause when you, for the most part, when I ask you, how are you doing? You're pretty much like pretty fast at answering.
Yeah. I got in my head this time. I got in my head.
This time you had a little pause there. I was like, all right, there's a thought there.
There was an internal struggle happening.
I hear you because I feel like I am, but I feel like I'm whole, but I'm not really good also.
Yeah. And it's like there are pockets of good, but then there are also pockets of
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You could complain, but it's like, who's listening?
Right. Or, it's like, oh, my sleep got interrupted last night. Right. I wish I could have stayed in the shower longer this morning. I didn't really want to wake up at the time I was supposed to. Let's see, what else?
Yeah.
But you're right. No one really cares about that stuff.
But there's always some sort of perspective to bring shit to. I don't know. It's like, don't complain.
Yeah. Right. But, what I'm learning in my fabulous 40s is that I have the right to feel how I feel on any given day and at any given time.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be ashamed of saying that I'm not good.
Yeah. So is this something that you just recently started practicing, or have you always been?
So I'll tell you where it came from. So last week, we recorded and we both texted each other shortly after that. And we were like, I don't know if we were at our 100%. Like, I don't know if we gave it all we had. We sort of weren't in the headspace for it. And I think it was late. And I don't even remember all the factors that played into it. I think I had gotten some fertility testing done that day. I'm not quite sure. But I think we both felt off. But we sort of pushed through, and then we realized, and after it was finished, then we texted each other and we were like, maybe we need to try that again.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated that moment, right? Because I felt like I felt like we were very honest with each other. And I think that coincidentally, we were both feeling the same way. And I think that made me even feel better. So it wasn't like I felt like the weak link or you felt like the weak link. It was like, no, we both were sort of in this weird negative vibe space. I wouldn't even say negative. That's labeling it. We were just in this off space. And so that incident happened. And then, this whole week is sort of with the Olympics and Simone Biles pulling out of most of the majority of the events. Prior to that, Naomi Osaka pulled out of Wimbledon, and, everyone's talking about this pressure. And it's not that they don't want to show up and perform, but it's like they're mind wasn't there. They weren't in the headspace. And when you're not in the right headspace, like you compromise the team.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we did, right?
That's what we did.
We pushed through it. Well, like we showed up, but then at the end of the day, we're like, we text each other. We're like, you know what? I don't know if you felt this way, but like, I don't think we were 100%.
Right.
I mean, mind you, we weren't doing flips, right? Like, but still.
Right. There was no physical, like we weren't pushing our bodies to the max by any means, but we were sometimes pushing our minds to the max because I think it's hard. Doing a podcast is hard. Being in a creative space on demand is hard. It's not stressful, but it is hard. Right. And so we also want to do a good show and like, we want to be at our peak. And so I think in the past, I would have just let it go and just put out a product that was sort of half-assed and sort of using what you just said, using the line that you just said. In the past, I would be like, all right, well, at least I showed up. It might not have been my best, but at least I showed up. But now I think I'm in this space where if I need to hit pause, then I'm going to hit pause. If I need to express that I don't think I was at 100%, can I do that again? Then I'm going to express that. And so this is something new that I've sort of tried to learn and sort of make it a habit, because that it wasn't always the case.
Right. I totally agree with you. And, going back to like, last week when we had this, recording session and didn't go well. It's what I don't, did I tell you this? Like I literally woke up in the middle of the night and I had this thought in my head and I kept thinking about the episode and I was like, why am I thinking about the episode that's already happened? Like, 5 hours, before then. And I guess when I woke up in the morning, you text me, it was so weird. I was like, holy shit. Like, this is probably why, like, it didn't feel like we gave it our all or we were in the headspace to do that episode. You know what I mean? And here you are speaking the words that maybe I dreamt, So it was kind of like, it was interesting.
Yeah. And I think in the past, if we had asked each other about each other's feelings about that podcast, we both might've been like, oh, it was good.
Right.
No, it was good, but deep down inside, just sort of repressing what we really thought about it. And I also don't want to give the impression that we totally bombed it. I think that there's really good content and material that we plan on using. But like you said, it wasn't our best. And we like to give it our best every single time. Yeah. So it's just something that I want to stop saying everything is good when it's not.
But it's so easy to do.
It is easy. And you know what I also think? I think that like when you're in your 40s, I think there is, and I don't know who's put it there, but I think that there's this pressure that you are supposed to have it all together. And so I think maybe you might be more inclined to say everything is good when it may not be because you're older. So of course you're supposed to have your shit together.
Yeah.
Right. Like, especially in that, I remember I did that a lot when my daughter was younger and everything was just a hot mess. And there was lack of sleep and it was just messy and I didn't know what I was doing. And, someone was to text me and be like, how's it going? And I would say, great, good.
What, in the meantime, in the bathroom crying.
Right. I just came out of the bathroom, but I'm good after locking myself out. Locking myself
my face out, but it's okay.
Yeah. So,
but I guess we're just kind of like shown that that's what it's supposed to be like. You know what I mean? You have to sit through this like misery and just be in it and be like, yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. I'm crying, but it's wonderful.
Right.
It's just a part of life.
Yeah. And I think in the past, maybe we thought that if we told ourselves that lie, eventually we would sort of speak it into the universe and things would actually be okay. Right. And I think there is some merit behind that, putting things out into the universe. But I also think that there is some bravery that comes with just saying, I'm good, but X, Y, and Z is also happening.
Yeah, that's so
like true. I still have my health.
Yeah.
But my day sucked.
Yeah. No.
And this is why.
No, I hear you. That's so true. But I'm excited for the topic today. Let's dig in, shall we?
Yes. Okay.
What did you find? So enlighten us, please.
Yes. So I'm saying all of this. So this whole setting the stage, this whole buildup was because I said to myself after our conversation about that episode, I was like, okay, this is a thing, right? Because I know I'm not the only person who does it. You and I have had conversations about it in the past. And so we are not the only people who do it. And so I was like, it must be a thing. So I started Googling. And here is what I found. Toxic positivity.
Ew, I love it.
Toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite a contrast.
But it is quite I mean, you hear those two words and you're like toxic. Ooh. How can being positive be toxic?
Yes. It's deep.
But I have to tell you, as soon as I saw this phrase, I was like, aha. I know that I have been a toxic positive person. And I know that people have imposed their toxic positivity on me.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Drop your mic. Where's your mic? Can you drop it?
No. Yes.
I think that, yes. we need a drop micing sound.
Yeah, not me tapping the actual mic.
You're tapping your microphone.
Okay. Agreed. We'll work on that.
Yes. I love it. All right. So
let me tell you what it is. I found this article published by the Washington Post and toxic positivity, according to this article, toxic positivity stems from the idea that the best or only way to cope with a bad situation is to put a positive spin on it and not dwell on the negative.
Right.
Okay. So here's the problem with that, right? Because some people might be thinking, yeah, well, you think positive thoughts until the situation turns itself around. I mean, I was raised that way too. But the problem with toxic positivity is that it prevents people from working through serious issues in a healthy way. And I really like that part, especially the healthy way, because what I found in the past when I did apply toxic positivity, not knowing that it was toxic, I also realized that I was suppressing how I was really feeling. Like you can't run from yourself, right? Like you sort of know that you're lying to yourself when you're trying to be positive, but you feel like shit inside. You're like, no, it's really going to be okay. So I can see that. And so apparently it comes from the tendency of undervaluing negative emotional experiences and overvaluing positive ones. So when you do that, it can actually make you sick.
Okay. So you cover up your negative with positive thoughts.
Right. Because somewhere along the way, we've been told that negative emotions are negative.
Right.
And so in the article, the psychologist who wrote the article uses this metaphor. And she says, it's like ice cream. It's like having too many scoops of ice cream. It's really good and makes you feel better, but you can overdo it and then it makes you sick.
Yeah.
Or, there's more.
Oh.
There's more. Or
hit me.
People hit you with toxic positivity. And
all right.
They try to shove ice cream into your face.
On your face. Okay.
When you actually may not feel like having ice cream.
Yeah. Is that when someone kind of comes out and tells you, hey, I'm feeling a certain way, but you're trying to like, you know what? Look on the bright side.
That's totally it. So I'm so happy. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Way to set me up because
gotcha. Got it. Gotcha.
I've also I dug a little bit deeper because I was like, I know that I've been exposed to this.
I can tell you showed up today.
Multiple times. So how might you know if you are exhibiting toxic positivity? How might you know? It is exactly what you said. So I found these examples from Jamie Long, who is a psychologist, and Samara Quintero, who's also a psychologist. And so they provided some common expressions and experiences of toxic positivity to help us realize how it shows up in our everyday lives. Okay.
I'm sure. Do you think everyone would just list them?
Okay. Because I know you're probably, if you're like me, you're going to be like, oh shit, I said that.
Yeah.
Or I've said that to myself, or I've said that to someone else. So
let's maybe resonates with me. I would just raise my hand. I'm like,
maybe we should put a disclaimer in here. So if you if you know us and we've used these phrases with you,
yes,
please forgive us in advance. We did not know any better.
No,
I'm learning in real time.
Yep. I did not know that this whole toxic positivity thing was a thing. Okay, so I apologize on the air.
Okay, so these are things that you might have done.
7 signs, right? Is it?
Yes. You know, they also shared, and I probably should have brought it, but they also shared quotes that people say. Ooh. Here are some common expressions and experiences where you might find toxic positivity in everyday life. So hiding or masking your true feelings. Okay. Trying to, quote, just get on with it, end quote, by stuffing or dismissing an emotion. Get out there and play ball. Guilty. I'm so happy you said that. What a great segue. Feeling guilty for feeling what you feel.
Guilty. All day.
Minimizing other people's experiences with feel-good quotes or statements.
I'm sure I've done that. Guilty.
Turn that frown upside down.
I've done that. I didn't mean to, but now I know what I did.
That's why I put the disclaimer in front. Okay.
Yes.
Trying to give someone perspective. Oh, this is me.
Yeah.
So, for example, saying things like, it could be worse. Instead, I know. But I do that I say that to myself.
You're so guilty of that.
Really, you're going to call me out. I'm the only other person here. You don't have to point me out.
You got to be guilty in one of these. I think I've been guilty in the past three.
I think I own all of these. Yeah, no, I think I own. That's why, I front loaded with the disclaimer because I know I've used these unintentionally. I didn't even realize that it was toxic positivity. Okay, so wait, let me finish that one up again. So trying to give someone perspective, for example, saying things like, it could be worse, instead of validating that person's emotional experience.
You know what? This happened this past weekend. Something like this happened to me. And you know what? I actually told the person, allow all the feelings to happen. You're not supposed to be strong. You're not supposed to have all the answers. You're not supposed to, you know what I mean? Right. So I think I completely took a turn on this one. I was like, you let yourself feel all the feelings. And in the end, hopefully you'll just, rebirth from that, but feel it because it's happening for a reason.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because you seemed very proud of yourself just now.
Yes. Yeah. I was really, now you just read it, it just kind of just hit me. I was like, oh my God, I had this happen to me this weekend.
It clicked. So you were not being a toxic, positive person.
No.
That's very admirable.
I was a toxic, negative person.
Okay. Right. You were just a realist. Maybe right. You know what? Maybe you were just a realist. So let me ask you this. Let's just stick with this one for a moment. You seemed very proud that you were not toxic in this moment. So that indicates to me that in the past you have been that person to sort of give someone perspective or say something like, it could be worse. So have you done that in the past? Okay, you've done that in the past, but now you're just proud of your evolution. Yeah. You should be. Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, I think in recent months, I've been trying to just tell, but for precisely this weekend, it happened. And I was like, oh my God, no, yes, you're not supposed to be the superwoman that everyone looks upon you to be. I think you need to cry. And I think you need to say, yes, all of this sucks, and allow all the feelings to happen. And maybe you'll just become a different person at the end of it all. And maybe you'll grow from it. Maybe you'll just rebirth yourself into the person that you actually were supposed to be. I don't know.
Yeah. So how did the person respond to that?
A lot of silence and tears.
Okay. Which I think is a good sign, because to me, it shows that they are letting it go. Let it go.
Yeah. They're going through the healing process. When you see like tears and like silence, I feel like people are typically like soaking it in. So or else you just get worse, or just people try to battle you at it. And it's like, when you hear that, it's like, I'm not even trying to have that conversation.
Yeah. I mean, usually when I get to that point with tears, that means that I've reached my limit. Right. Like, I am saturated. I cannot repress any further. It has to come out.
Yeah.
So that's when I see someone cry, that means to me that, like you said, that means that they're healing.
Yeah. Something is happening for sure.
Okay. Are we ready to move on to the next one?
Yes, let's go.
All right. So, shaming or chastising others for expressing frustration or anything other than positivity. I don't think I've done that.
No, I don't think I've done that either.
I actually think that when someone is too positive, it's fake.
Okay.
So I don't think that I've ever shamed anyone for expressing feelings other than positivity.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've done that either.
I hope I haven't.
But you know what? Watch someone DM us and be like, "Oh, do you remember?" Yeah, I don't think we've done that.
Okay. What about this one? Brushing off things that are bothering you within it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. I do that. Well, you know what? I don't think I do that. So I'm conflicted. Do you hear my conflict right now? So I think that I've tried that and it doesn't work for me. And I question, why is it that way?
Right.
So I'm very close. Like my partner, I think he's more of a, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm more of a, why does it have to be what it is?
Why is it that way?
Why is it that way? That's what I do. That is what I do. But looking back at this, I think definitely I've felt guilty for feeling what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that just because it comes from being an expressive person. But what I've learned about this toxic positivity is that it's really other people's issues. It's really their own. It's like, it's someone else's issue that they have a problem with me either being emotional, being angry, being sad, basically being anything but positive. It's not my problem.
So you're saying that being toxic,
I think that toxic positivity makes people feel guilty for feeling what they feel. I think that's part of it. And I'm saying that I have felt guilty for what I feel because of other people's reaction to me when I am not positive.
Because I guess the receiver is not open to what you're feeling.
Right. Or they make me feel guilty for not being positive in a particular moment. Right. Yes. So I'm not saying that I'm at a Broadway play and I'm like, this sucks. Right. Like that. Right. I should be shamed for that. Like someone should shame me for that. But I think sometimes we make people feel like there's an appropriate way to feel at any given moment.
Right.
And what I've learned is that I don't think there is an appropriate way to feel at any given moment.
Do you think that's do you think that's why people typically would just say, "Hey, I'm good," instead of actually telling people how they really feel?
Definitely.
Because they're not ready for, I honestly think people are not ready for the negative shit.
Because people think it's negative.
Yeah. Right. So that's probably why people are not willing to just open up and share, because no one's really receiving it.
Right. And they're like, not today.
Not today. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, you need to be happy. Like,
that's not my journey today.
Yeah. Well, but I think that's different. So I feel like saying, because I feel like saying that's not my journey is like saying no and having boundaries. I think that's actually very healthy. No. But here's an example, right? So feeling guilty for what I feel. And I think about my career and I think about how many years, look, I worked very hard to get where I was, but I did know probably the last few years before I exited that I wasn't feeling whole, and I brushed it off, and I felt guilty for feeling what I feel. And so what was the result? The result was that I stayed in this place where I was unhappy. Right. And it just sort of, like I always say, ate at my soul. But I think in my mind, that was me applying toxic positivity. Like, no, it'll be okay. No, just hang in there until you get your benefits. Like,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. What it is. Retirement is just 12 years away. You know, all these things, positive, positive, positive. And then in the meantime, I'm dying on the inside.
Yeah. I guess toxic positivity can really just eat you away.
Yeah. But you don't know. Right. But you don't know what you don't know. Did you grow up in a household where you felt like it was toxic positivity? Like based on what we just discussed.
Oh, yeah. It is what it is. Yes. It's like, be happy you're eating steak today because the next person, neighbors don't have that. Like, it's just like things like that. But Yeah. I didn't know there was a thing for a name for it, but I was all surrounded by all of that.
So then you learned the message, or, I learned the message that you can't express how you honestly feel, because then you seem ungrateful. And I think that sometimes I conflate being grateful with being positive. And I think that now I'm learning, right, that someone can still be grateful, but doesn't always have to be positive, right? Just because you're
an off day.
Right. It doesn't mean that you're not grateful for having another day of life, but it's okay not to feel joyous every day.
But do you feel like you do that with your daughter?
No, I think but obviously I'm not being objective. No, I think I really just try to, like, we don't use the words happy or sad because I feel like those are very charged words. So what do you use? I just ask, how are you feeling today? And I just let it go where it goes. And if she says something like good, I might ask some follow-up questions. Like, what does good mean? So did you sleep well? I ask a lot of questions so that she doesn't necessarily, she can't just answer she can't just give one word responses.
Yeah. You trick their mind.
Yeah. So I think that's important too, and we do it as adults also, if it's a dear friend and we're asking how they're doing and they say good, I will absolutely ask some follow-up questions because I don't even know what good means.
Yeah. Right. Because according to what we just said, people can just rely on good just to not get into what's actually happening in their lives. Because good is just easy to say. How are you today? I'm good.
Yeah. And I think, right. I'm good. Great.
Yeah. I'm great.
Later.
Yeah.
See you later.
Right. No, I was going to say with my kids, I just ask them, like, what's on your mind?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, then once the issue is, discussed, I'm like, oh, this is what we call it, or this is what it is. Because at this point in their lives, I feel like they still don't know what they're feeling, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I don't know, is that happy, sad, confused? And like, it's unknown. It's a mix of things. I'm happy, but then I know that I'm happy. I should feel happy, but then I have this like unknown feeling in the mix of it all. Like, it's all like up in the air. Like, they don't really know what to call anything. So I was like, what's on your mind?
Yeah, that's a good way.
And I was like, we'll start talking to him. I was like, oh, well, this is probably why, but whatever. But I feel like that's pretty open to any feelings, to anything really, without giving it a name.
Yeah. Do you ask adults what's on your mind?
I don't really do that much with adults.
I feel like our generation sort of invests a lot of making sure that we tap into our kids, and then somewhere along the way it stops. Yeah. And I think that as society, I think we forget that adults are they're the same people, mm-hmm. right? They're just older, But a lot of times it's that same kid that's still living inside of that person. Right. And so what happens when the questions stop? Right. Because I also realized that about myself. I don't remember the last time I've asked someone what's on their mind.
Yeah.
So like, with kids, but I don't remember the last time I asked someone what's on their mind.
It's funny. I'm trying to remember who the person was. This person used to always ask me, what's on your mind? Mm-hmm. But I don't know, this was maybe 10 years ago or so. I can't even remember the person, to be honest with you. But that was the way of asking me how I was doing. Mm-hmm. And I think it was somebody at work, maybe. It had to be someone at work. But yeah, that was the question, like, what's on your mind? But then it's like, it never dawned on me why that was. But I guess now that we're sitting here having this conversation, I was like, you know what? That's probably a good way of asking someone, like, how are they doing? Because when you say what's on your mind, you really open it up to just anything. Right.
And I feel like it's a good way to tell someone without telling them that you see them. And I think just because we stop asking that question when someone is a child, there's still that same person. So what's still happening? Like, you still want to know what is happening in that person's mind. But for some reason, we think that adults don't need to be asked, or we think that we just make assumptions that adults already have those tools to be expressive. Whereas I'm sure you can attest to this, like, most adults don't.
They don't.
We don't have the ability to sort of express how we're feeling, or just, be very vulnerable and just give up what is on our minds when someone asks us. It takes practice, but you can only practice it when someone asks you the question.
Right. And I mean, yeah, you're right. I was gonna say, you have to practice it sometimes too. Even if sometimes I feel like even the most, vocal person sometimes isn't willing to just, dish out their lives to you. Mm-hmm. And I feel like sometimes you just have to ask the right questions to get the right answers from people, for the most part. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think, the what's on your mind question approach is one of the ones that make people feel really, like you said, seen and maybe comfortable with kind of like, hey, maybe, you know what? She's paying attention. Maybe I should say something.
Yeah.
Because she actually cares, or, you know what I mean? So, but we don't ask that as often.
I also think it's easier for people to maybe rationalize. I think that question is easier for people who might have more of a logical way of thinking to answer, right? Because a lot of times I feel like the people who are in their feels and can express it, usually if you ask them how they're doing, they'll tell you everything. But I think that the people who are more on the logic side of their brain might have a hard time articulating those emotions. So I think it's a safer way to get someone to open up who may not be connected to their emotions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Because then, like, if you get to the thoughts, then you can get to the feelings.
Yes, absolutely. Look at that.
So look at that.
You delivered it nice and fancy.
You know what? I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask how you're feeling. I'm going to ask what's on your mind.
I know. I feel like from now on, I will. What's on your mind? What's on your mind?
No one's going to want to talk to us.
I know. They're like, all right, here we go. Eli and Marisa. They're up to something.
I don't want to tell you what's on my mind today.
I'm like, don't ask.
I know. Wait, I have a question. So I have a question. Okay. So we talked about sort of it going, this toxic positivity and us possibly projecting it on people. Have you felt as though people have projected their toxic positivity on you?
Yes. Yeah, I know. I was trying to
tell me what's on your mind.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a moment that I can share with you. But I also feel, yes, I think it has definitely happened for sure.
So let me help you out, because I think we talked about sort of parents, like our parents doing that to us. So outside of that circle.
Yeah, no, I wasn't even going. Okay. Yeah, I was not even, going that route with the parents. I was thinking about like friends and like closer circles. aside from parents. But I think it has happened. But I also think that I don't bank on people's opinion that much. Not in a bad way. Like
I don't give a fuck.
No, I know. Not in a bad way. I know that came out really bad.
It is what it is. No, don't take it back. No, you will not take it back. Don't take it back. And I'm sorry for acting like that was a negative thing to say. That was not a negative thing to say.
Would you just shaming me? I think
I know
that was a toxic positive thing.
It was. It didn't come out. I wasn't like, I didn't mean to shame you. I was trying to be funny, but in me trying to be funny, I realized that I might have.
Well, that's hilarious.
I might have invalidated how you felt.
It's okay. This is a new thing for us.
I'm sorry.
Get it. It's all right. We're going to get it. But, going back to your question, I think that I feel what I feel regardless of what people tell me. And I process things a little different in the sense that I don't like the noise to process things, and I don't like people's opinions to process things. So when I don't know if I embrace it in a way that it affects me, like it doesn't, like I can't even explain it. I don't embrace it in a way that it would just bring me out of my zone or affect me so much. It's kind of like, yes, I appreciate you. I love your perspective. I love it all. But at the end of the day, it's what I feel that I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
I move on my feelings, period, regardless of like what my surroundings are telling me. I appreciate them. I love them. I'm not, I'm not saying that I don't, but no, I move on my tone.
Yeah. What I hear you saying is you've already processed it.
Right.
So anyone else who comes along and processes it or gives you feedback or tries to project their toxic positivity, that's sort of a afterthought. Right. Because you've already fully processed it.
I'm already decided what I'm going to do.
Right.
So, getting like a feedback or a perspective, I appreciate it. Sometimes it may even make me change my mind or here and there, but for the most part, it really doesn't. So I don't know. No.
Yeah.
It's already been done in my head. Like I go into a quiet space and do it all.
Yeah.
And then I come out and it's like, sure, everyone's going to have an opinion.
You're ready for it at that point.
Right. At that point, it's like, I've already done it. So
you beat them to it. I get it.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know. I may go back and cry about it, but I've already done it.
Right.
I don't know if that's a good thing either.
We're not using those words anymore.
Right. It's a great thing. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing feeling. You allow it all, please.
When I was in 5th grade, we had a teacher who would put words in the word graveyard. And all of us, this was in the 90s, so all of us used the word like way too much. And so she put the word like in the graveyard. So tonight, I think the word good should go into the graveyard. But we kind of need to still use the word good, at least in this episode. But after that, it's going in the graveyard. I definitely think that I have been on the receiving end, or that people have projected their toxic positivity on me. And I take ownership. I think that, unlike you, I think that in the past, I let other people's opinions about my lack of positivity affect how I then interacted going forward from that moment. Now I'm in a different place, but there was a point in which I tried to sort of, I guess, censor myself because other people's reaction. Now, I will say that in part, in some cases, it could be the delivery, but I also feel like when I'm talking about myself, I can say whatever I want to say, right? Or if you're asking my opinion about something, then I'm going to say, like, I can say what I want to say.
Yeah.
And in the past, I have censored myself based on, I think, people making me feel guilty. But then as I say that statement, I realize that no one can make me feel a way. I'm the only one who can make me feel a way. So I can't really blame other people, but I can say that I have felt the projection of toxic positivity. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it happens a lot. Whether or not you want to embrace it, but I think it happens a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. But I have to say, like, it's very liberating to not be positive all the time. I know some people may be like, what? But I feel like it's very liberating. I think it's real. It's so real.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you feel like you're not carrying the world on your shoulders. It's kind of like, how are you doing today? No, I'm not doing great.
Yeah. And like
asking.
Right. I'm not doing great. And it's so funny because when the whole situation with Simone Biles came out in the Olympics, there was a small part of me, not in a malicious way, but there was a small part of me that felt good, that felt that what I was feeling, what I sometimes feel is normal, right? Because she is someone who has to be on her A game every day. Right. And what I learned, and obviously I don't know her, but from what she revealed, what I learned or what I understood is that, yeah, I may go out there and I'm performing, but it doesn't mean that I'm always mentally there. Yeah. And I feel like if it happens to such an elite athlete, then of course, it's going to happen to, the average person.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was so big of her to come out and just be like, just giving her platform and like, no, I'm not well. It's okay because I think everybody expected her to deliver her best game ever because it's like, oh my God, like you're in the Olympics, you're Simone Biles, like you have to do this. You've done this before. You could do it again. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in my head, I'm thinking, look at you, like, look at these folks talking about you must do this. It's kind of like, can you even do a cartwheel?
Right. It's like, I don't have to do shit. She doesn't have to do shit.
You don't have to do shit. And
now I will say, and it's okay. Now I will say, obviously, there are endorsements and there are tours that are writing on these things. And I understand that, but it's like, okay, can she get a day? Can she get a day? Right. She's still going to be Simone Biles. Everyone deserves a day.
Right. And like, given the sport that she's in, I think it's
grueling.
It's like, it's so important for you to be like in tune with yourself. And if you're off, like you can land on your head. Next thing you know, you're paralyzed. Right. So it's not like it's basketball, you're running up and down. And not that I'm, downplaying basketball, but like comparing it to gymnastics, like she's doing flips up in the air like 4 or 5 times. It's like, no, like if I don't feel like I'm in tune with my flips, with the airspace, I'm not doing it. Right. And I get it. Why does she have to push herself just to prove something when there's nothing to be proved? Like, she's not there. I'm not feeling it. Like my airspace or my whatever is off. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, I agree. Right. So her off day means that she could possibly break her neck. Our off day is like we left our keys locked in the car.
Right. Right. Yes. So her off day is completely different than the average.
Yeah.
Unless you can do like flips up in the air like she does, you don't get to talk.
Yeah.
You do not get to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I mean, I think the only people, she doesn't owe anyone anything. And the people who she probably does feel like she owes understand.
Exactly.
They understand. Yeah. And circle, right? Yes, her inner circle. And her admitting that, I just felt gave so many people, myself included, permission to admit that stuff we always knew, we already knew, but I think the more that it gets reinforced, the better it is, not only for the person, but also for the relationships that we have with each other.
Yeah, so. I think so too. I think it makes it, I think she normalized it.
She did, right? And it's like, there are some people who turned it into a negative story. They try to spin the optics. And then there are people who use it as an opportunity to talk about mental health.
Yeah. Open up the conversation and just, I think just built from there.
Yeah.
And the people that made it negative, I think can't even do flips. So
they can't. They can't.
Cannot do flips.
They can't. So fuck you. Right. That should have been her response.
I can't even do a flip. I do a cartwheel. I feel like my whole world is upside down. So I could only imagine.
Yeah.
Like what these girls go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And it's real. It's just real. And I think being real just attracts real. It attracts more real people And that's what I'm here for. I'm just here to share my realness and to attract real, So we are not negative Nancy's. Ooh. We are just being real.
We're just what?
I said we're not negative Nancy's. We are just being real.
Oh, being real.
Yes.
Absolutely. We're
not negative Nancy. Real Rashida.
Oh. Real Rashida. I like that.
Yeah, we need a name.
I love that.
I'm being a real Rashida. That's what I'm going to say.
I like it. A real Rashida. Negative Nancy, a real Rashida. That's a good one. I was going to say, drop your mic, but no, don't touch your mic.
I can't. I know. Last time I did it, I disconnected the sound. We won't have a podcast. We won't have any more material if I do that. Well, as always, such a good conversation.
I know. This was really awesome. I feel like we could talk about this forever.
We could. What are you going to do differently?
I am going to say, I'm going to start asking people what's on your mind.
Okay.
That's going to be my new thing. What's on your mind? I'm going to try very hard. I had forgotten that this happened to me so many times in the past, and now I understand the difference. What about you? I think you should do that too.
I think I will. Okay. I like that. So I will add that. And I will also, I am going to make sure that I'm not giving people perspective.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to practice not giving people perspective. I think there's still some residual perspectives that I dish out. So I'm going to make sure that I am validating people's emotional experiences.
Yeah. Feel all the feelings.
Yes. Well, I do feel all the feelings, but I also think that, right, if someone's telling me their experience, I don't need to remind them that other people have worse problems.
Yes. No, that's what I meant. Like, let them feel all the feelings.
Oh, let them feel all the feelings. Yeah. Okay. I thought you meant
I give you permission to feel all the feelings.
Got it. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Of course, I have to use like language that would come out of my mouth.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, I think validating people's emotional experiences more. I'm going to do that. Yeah. And we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And then let's talk about that after.
Yeah. So we're going to be real. We rather be whole than good, right? Accepting all the different pieces of us than just saying that we're good and sort of brushing those other emotions to the side.
Yeah.
So we're going to gather them all. Come on, everybody. Come on. Come on, confusion. Come on, anxiety. Come on, excitement.
You may enter.
Come on, bossy. You may enter. Oh, let's all get together. Hold hands, everybody. Here we go. You're all a part of me.
Oh my goodness. Let's bond.
Yeah. Yes. So, and I'm also going to get rid of labeling my emotions. Like as far as putting them into categories, like negative, positive.
Oh, labeling.
Yeah. Gotcha. I'm going to call it what it is instead of just labeling them and putting them into buckets.
Gotcha.
No more good and bad buckets.
No.
So
just let them be emotions.
Yeah. Just let them be emotions. Let us wrap it up. Okay. So in one word, how would you describe our conversation?
Ooh, I love this. I would say liberating.
Ooh.
Free and liberating.
That is a good word.
I feel lighter.
Yeah. I always feel lighter. I always feel as though I'm processing verbally with you.
Yeah. Same here.
So I sort of, every time I process something, I can package it away. Let's see. How would I describe, what's one word? Aware. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
She sees you guys. She sees you.
I see you. I always feel like somebody's watching me.
All right. Give her a mic now. Oh, you have a mic.
I do. That doesn't work. Oh, all right, lady. Awesome. Can't wait for our next episode.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and give us your feedback.
Please.
Are you a toxic, positive person?
Let us know what's on your mind.
Yes. All right. Till our next episode. Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Lifingit. Please visit us on Instagram at Lifingit Podcast for links to earlier episodes, or check us out on YouTube at Lifingit Podcast.